Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All he wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All he wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody set the lack of flames. No, living my life to the fullest. And shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still rising up to greater heights. As long as
Hello, bonjour and bonani. Welcome to Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. My name is Dr. Riel Nkunene, and I'm going to be your host for today. So if you're watching us online, please feel free to put in the chat box where you're watching us from and what you hope to achieve from our podcast. Today, we are surrounded by greatness in the World Wide Web. We have amazing speakers who's going to share some nuggets on human rights. So in Florida, we have Dr. Monica Gomez de Ramos.
Most normally spoken by Monica Go. They shorten my words. Thank you, Dr. Real.
Yes.
I am so honored to be here.
Mm-hmm. And then in Arizona, we have Terina Maldonado.
Good morning. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you.
And then in Los Angeles, we have Brenda Adelman. So at this moment, I will let our speakers to introduce themselves. So you can go ahead, Monica, go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Real. I am so honored again. Well, a little bit about me. There's a lot in my plate. I've been mentoring and pastoring for over 2 decades. I love mentoring. I love to shift women from where they're at when they come to my life and to shift them to their purpose and see them grow and fulfill their lives the way that they're supposed to be. God has planted things in us that we are supposed to obtain, and life is always trying to take them out of our lives to break that place that we're supposed to be. So I love to be that mentor. I have a podcast. It's called the Monica Go podcast in different platforms. It's listened into over 90 countries in English and in Spanish, which I would love to have you ladies invite you girls. And one of my team, my group, my husband, my team, my core, we definitely work with ministry, and we work as well with we're philanthropists. We do missions, and we go out there, we go into the nitty-gritty. I think it's a good balance for us when we go out and serve others, but really when we serve others, they are serving us to see how much we have been blessed and to be able to give back. So we are right now, we're powering up one of our festivals that it's called Love For. People just come in and just sow and plant for these nations, South America, Central America. We're going to be also helping out in Kenya. But anyway, that's a little bit of what I do. And I'm preparing a trip for Israel on November 29th. And well, I hope all of you will be part of all of these projects that I'm working in. And it would be my honor to have you. Thank you so much, Dr. Real.
Wow, it's such a great honor to have you, Monica Go, and I'm looking forward to hear more of your message. You can go ahead, Terina, and introduce yourself, please.
Hi. So I am not doing as many fun and amazing things as Monica.
Please, everything's fun and amazing. All the things that we do are important. Everything, small. Please.
I just absolutely love to travel. And so I love that you're going and doing things all over the world. That makes my heart so happy. I am a life coach and a speaker and a facilitator. the root of everything that I do is grounded in vocal empowerment and helping people to feel comfortable and confident speaking their truth, sharing their stories, communicating in a way that helps nurture and strengthen relationships and helps them to step into their own identity of who they authentically are without feeling like they have to live up to the expectations of family, society, religion, all of the expectations that we may feel upon us, and just really step into who they are authentically from their own heart-centered space. And so it really brings me so much joy to help people really feel comfortable being who they are and being able to speak their truth and their stories without the fear of disappointing anybody else in their life, because we know that when we can live in a way that makes us happy and fulfilled, then we show up better for the people in our lives.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's such a great honor to have you, Terina. And your work is really amazing. I'm looking forward to hear more of your message. You can go ahead, Brenda, and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, how wonderful. There seems to be some kismet here about empowerment, standing in your truth, authenticity. I'm a critically acclaimed actress with a one-woman show based on my life story that I've toured in 4 countries and 10 states. I'm all about speaking your truth, being authentic. My focus is on healing from your stories, and I've helped just in the last couple of years, 200 storytellers, entrepreneurs, performers, heal from their stories and then share their stories in TED style talks or one-person shows. I have a Hero of Forgiveness award. I wrote a book on forgiveness as well. And I've toured my show in places like for women prisoners, youth at risk. It's so important to reach all kinds of communities with this work. And the story that started it all for me was that my father shot and killed my mother back in 1995 and then married her sister. And what helped me was writing my story, first witnessing it, which I'll talk about, and then creating a one-person show, but I'll talk more about that after because I didn't want to share anything. And then and then finding the power of forgiveness and setting healthy boundaries.
Powerful. Wow.
Oh, wow. Powerful forgiveness. Wow. Wow. I can't be in your shoes, Brenda, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hear more of your message. Really. Yeah, forgiveness, it comes with a price. Oh my goodness. Well, anyways, we're gonna get started. Because human rights, when you speak of human rights, really, it's quite a sensitive subject matter that anyone can address. So we always have a disclaimer here at Rise to Greater Heights Network. We are only here to provide legal information to the public. So legal information is not the same as legal advice as to the application of law to any individual specific circumstances. So we cannot offer any legal advice in response to specific questions. So we strongly recommend that you consult a lawyer if you need such help, because we're just here to share the information with the world. I know many, they will just need answers through us, but unfortunately we can't give that legal advice. So consult a lawyer if you need such help. So we're gonna get started with Monica Go. Monica Go, I have a question for you. If you happen to have your own billboard, I can see your billboard coming down there in the busy highway in Florida, what will your billboard say?
Go back to basics. Go back to God.
Go back to basics. Go back to God. I love it. Wow. How about you, Terina? Maybe your billboard is already down there in the busy highway in Phoenix. What will your billboard say?
Fall in love with yourself. The rest will fall in place.
Fall in love with yourself. The rest will fall in place. Wow. I love it. Oh my goodness. How about you, Brenda? What will your billboard say in the busy highway in LA?
I'm borrowing from Shakespeare. This above all else, to thine own self be true.
I actually love all of the billboards, really. So I believe mine will be the 4th billboard driving down the highway. And you know what? It's going to say what? The sky is no longer the limit, but the sky is now our point of view. That's where we are just up there viewing what we want to do with our destinies. Because I believe that we all rise together and we rise to greater heights by lifting each other up. So my billboard is definitely coming. So we're going to get started. We have Monica Gomez de Ramos. Monica Gomez de Ramos was born in New York City. She immigrated to Colombia and lived there her adolescent years. She loves sports. One of the highlights was being one of the first women who competed in a 1,200 kilometer race for several years. So Dr. Ramos is an ordained pastor in the United States and co-founder of La Viva City in Orlando, Florida. She has been working for over 20 years in discipleship, restoration, and purpose. So she shares this great task with her husband, Pastor Osmani Ramos. And her love for missions ministry is with the most needed in countries. So she holds a leadership diploma from Belhaven University, and she also holds a doctorate as a humanitarian and leadership, as well as recognized as with an award for 100 Successful Women in Business in London 2022. As she was also granted by Luwani a recognition award for her humanitarian work, the Hero Award in London, England. In addition, Monica is the founder and principal of Orlando-based media conglomerate Monica Go. This is also the home of her podcast, Monica Go, on streaming platforms, where she focuses on coaching, personal growth, and spiritual leadership for her listeners in more than 90 plus countries who loyally listen weekly. She is focused on women entrepreneurs that are in search of spiritual and emotional restoration, preparing them for personal self-development and growth within their businesses. Monica is always ready to go, and she says, let's give it a go. So kings and queens, please join me and welcome Monica Gomez de Ramos.
So beautiful. My eyes just teared up because God has been so good. When I heard Brenda's her story that is so deep and so hard, it takes you back to your own years, right? I was so backed up with my relationships with women were very scattered because I had very little friends, but had a lot of people that I knew. But when I was a little girl, I was abused sexually. So I had that need of having someone to talk to, but I was in a paralyzed depression that nobody noticed. Nobody noticed, not even my parents. Nobody noticed that I was depressed. And I knew I was depressed. I was hidden behind all these whatever, and I was depressed. So at the sense of my life, when I started, really what really hit me, I was a rich girl with a poor heart. My parents gave me everything that I needed, but I wasn't satisfied. I tried to seek that feeling to fulfill my void. There was a hole inside of me that I couldn't fulfill. And I started seeking different venues until the day that I was in a bed for 2 months sick with a terrible diagnostics. And my nanny, she came back to me and shared Jesus Christ. I don't know if you girls know about that. Whatever way you connect with God, that's all my respect to you. But that happened to me. God literally did a 3-in-1 for me. He got me out of that bed of 2 months with a terrible diagnostic. He started healing my heart. That depression of always seeking when you're abused and you're seeking always that love that you couldn't even get from your family, but God gave me that. He started healing me. So he started putting so much inside of me that I said, oh, I can't stay with this by myself. I have to start sharing this because he is the truth, the way, and the reality for my life. He started changing me. So when slowly but surely I started mentoring, I didn't even know that I mentored, but when I started mentoring and getting into the nitty gritty in the business of other people and not thinking so much about me, I started getting even more and more healing because of what I was doing for someone else. And I think the biggest nugget, a gold nugget that we receive is that when you do something for someone else, your experience, your wisdom that has been given from above, it is a blessing and a healing to someone else. And I love what I do. Passionately, I love what I do because I love to see people shine above and gracefully and grateful because I am so thankful. I cannot pay, not even with my life, what I have received from God. So he's my standard. He's my rock. And I will do this until the day that I die. And I love what Tarina does because I needed that. I needed what she did. I came into every room not knowing who I was. Everybody saw beautifulness in me, but I didn't see it in myself. And until someone started depositing those nuggets and I started seeing myself in the light of God, not in the light of people. And so then I started doing what I do. I just love what I do. And I just hope to be able to do it until I'm an old lady or God takes me back home or whatever the scenario may be. But that's why I say we need to give it a go because God already gave a go for us. It's our decision to come clean, to be discipled or to be mentored and be able to forgive in all sense and all ways. So I think that's a little bit of the part of me. Brenda, I'm an actress. I'm a professional actress as well. I worked in Colombia in novelas. And I discovered a lot of things through acting. And when you said that, you took me back several years, and that was a place of my refuge emotionally while I was digging in myself as I digged into people that I needed to discover what in my acting career. And I honor you, Brenda, and I honor you, precious Triana, and Dr. Ray for this beautiful platform and letting me express. And while I'm here, I'm serving you. You could find me on Facebook and Instagram as Soy, S-O-Y, Monica Go. And I'm your coach. I'm your mentor. If you can't talk to no one, let me tell you, you need me because I know how to take you from where you are to where you have to be. So don't miss out. This is a good opportunity with all of these precious women. Thank you for this moment.
Oh, wow, Dr. Monica, thank you so much for sharing some insights. You've mentioned that there is healing for those who want to renew their minds in God. And you heal, like you shared about your experience that you started healing by sharing more of your story and without even realizing, but the more you share your story, the more you're trying to save the world, you are also saving your own soul too. You are also healing. What a profound message. Thank you so much, Dr. Monica, for such a profound message. Now we are going all the way to Phoenix. Phoenix is my nickname. I love the name Phoenix. So we have Tarina Maldonado. Tarina, she's saying that as humans, one of our greatest needs is connection. So the primary vehicle through which we can build connections is vulnerability. Too many people, particularly those who have lived through trauma, grief, and other significant life disruptions, are terrified to speak up when it matters the most, and don't understand how to move through the discomfort the high stakes communication often creates. Enter Tarina Maldonado, a survivor of childhood abuse and sexual assault. Tarina takes her audiences on a journey of discovery, healing, and empowerment as she shows them how embracing their voices can accelerate their growth and inspire those around them. She pulls back the curtains and shares how her own vulnerable storytelling about child sexual grooming went viral, creating the opportunity for her own deeper healing while also creating a positive global impact. Audiences will leave this soul-stirring presentation woken up to the power of their voices, able to use their own stories to have greater influence, heal themselves, release shame, and speak up to impact others. They'll be more comfortable when they speak boldly and will identify possibilities for how they want to speak their truth more boldly in the world. So kings and queens, please join me and welcome Terina Maldonado.
Thank you. And thank you, Monica, for those beautiful words. I really resonated with so much of what you said. My story is similar, it seems, to both of yours in many ways. And I think that there's so many of us where we really just connect and identify with other people when we hear their stories of strength and resilience. And that is why I feel it's so important for us to be able to find the courage to embrace the vulnerability required to speak our stories and share our truth with others. When I was a younger mom and was working a job, my family was invited to a pre-release screening of a movie. And when we were watching the movie, there was a scene that I felt was rather concerning. In this scene, the main character was told that in order to save the day and become the hero, he needed to have his genitals examined. And he voiced his discomfort and was then instructed that he just needed to go to his Zen place to allow this inspection to happen. I felt that this sent a pretty dangerous message to children and thought that other people would see this dangerous message as well. And so the morning that reviews were released, I sat down at my computer and was reading through, waiting for any mention of this scene or sexual grooming or it being inappropriate for children. And I didn't see it anywhere. And so it became clear that one of two things was happening. Either no one else recognized this or no one was speaking up and alerting parents to its content. So despite the fact that I had a very, very small audience, I thought I will write an article and I will share this. And I figured it would probably just get to my family and friends, and at least they would be aware of this movie's content. I wrote and shared the article, and much to my surprise, it went viral quickly in the most literal sense of the word. It had been shared in countries around the world. My website received like 5 million views, and I was contacted by most major news media outlets. So I did not anticipate that at all. What I thought was I would help people within my circle of influence to just be aware. In the article that I wrote, I shared that the lens through which I saw this scene and this information that I was sharing was that of a survivor of child abuse. I shared that parents could make a choice to go see this movie or not, and encourage them if they did, it could be a great opportunity to have a very important conversation because this scene could open up dialogue. And if they didn't, to let this be a reminder that important conversations need to be had frequently with our children to remind them of body autonomy and safe touch. And what I did not do was rail on Hollywood or a director or an actor. And I did not demand that families do not go see this movie. And I think because of my approach of sharing with vulnerability, that I was able to see this content through the lens of a survivor of child abuse. And because I left the decision in the hands of parents and families of how they wanted to navigate that, that contributed to the success in the sharing of the information for more families to be made aware. Now, the public was in an outcry over this. And movie theaters independently started pulling the movie and not showing it anymore. And the production company had to listen because there were millions of people saying this is not okay to have in a children's movie. And so for the first time ever in history, a children's movie was pulled from the theater to be edited for content. And there were countries around the world that were even discussing, maybe we don't even let this movie be released in our country. And so my choice to embrace my story and share in a very, very vulnerable way had an impact that could be felt around the world. For me, the greatest reward that came from that was not being mentioned by the New York Times. It was having a mom reach out and say to me, "Thank you so much for that. I don't know that my child who has survived sexual abuse would have been okay after seeing that scene." And so for me, knowing that I helped to protect a child was the greatest outcome of that. Now, my ability to speak about my child abuse did not come instantly in that moment. That had come from many small moments of sharing my story and gaining confidence in my ability to speak up and to have confidence. And one of the incidences that to me has a far greater impact than the global impact that this viral article had was after realizing and putting together that an experience I'd had many years prior had been sexual assault. I reached out to my sister to share this, even though I was feeling so much shame about what I had experienced. And this is a whole other story to get into about how purity culture really impacted my inability to realize what had happened. But I shared with her, even though I felt like this was dirty and this was awful and this was something that I should probably not tell anybody other than like maybe my therapist to help me get through this. And my sister not only received my experience with love and support, she ended up sharing with me that she had been abused as a child. And my sharing with her gave her the strength and permission to share with me. And I was the first person in our family that she had shared with. And it started her down the road of healing because she felt safe. She had been given permission to share her story because I had shared mine with her. And so it really is so true that when we share our stories, we give others permission to do the same. And as we share our stories, we begin to heal. And when we heal our own hearts, then that ripples out into our families and our communities. And as we can embrace vulnerability and our stories, then we can create a change in the world. And so if you are a person who is ready to get comfortable with who you are and embrace your story and be able to share your experience and your light and who you are with the world in a way that is full of courage, compassion, empathy, and vulnerability, then I'd love for you to find me here on social media or go to my website, TarinaMaldonado.com. And from there, you can connect with my social media. We could schedule a complimentary call to see how I might be able to support you in your journey. So thank you, everybody.
Wow. Wow, Tarina, thank you so much for being the voice for the voiceless. You've mentioned that embracing your voice, embracing your truth, embracing your message, it can change the world. It can heal the world. Like how Monica mentioned that by sharing your story, you heal. You heal yourself, you heal the world. And you've also added more nuggets on that because you believe that in the foundation necessary for vocal empowerment is just embracing your voice, embracing your truth. What a profound message that you've shared with us. And thank you for being vulnerable enough to share your story, to heal the world. You may never know, someone else who is watching and listening under your voice might have gone through this, but decided to mute themselves because they are scared of being labeled with that whatsoever that they went through. So I believe most of our audience will reach out to you because you've just decided to share this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tarina, for sharing such a profound message. So now we are going to Los Angeles. We have Brenda Adelman. Brenda Adelman is an award-winning actor and the recipient of the Hero of Forgiveness Award. She's presented her critically acclaimed one-woman show, My Brooklyn Hamlet, for over 12,000 people from LA to London. She is the author of My Father Killed My Mother and Married My Aunt, Forgiving the Unforgivable, and has helped develop and and directed over 2,000 stories for her clients, entrepreneurs, and performers who share their story for impact on stages, on video, and interviews. Her membership is the Soul Story Lounge, which brings together the spiritual and the practical healing and performance. Kings and queens, please join me and welcome Brenda Adelman.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I guess, that kind of says it all, the emotion that comes forward when we share our stories, because my aim with sharing my story is always to captivate and activate the people in the audience. They look at their lives and how that affects them, whether it opens their heart or makes them think about something else that happened in their life. I remember years ago when I absolutely was never going to tell my story because I was filled with so much shame, and it was putting it up in an acting class in LA because I was guided to do it a couple of years after my mother was killed by my dad, because I felt like I was a shell of who I was. All I did was cry. I had no aim or purpose. And then I got that inner guidance, that God moment, which I'll talk about too, which I wasn't going to, but I was inspired to just tell my story. And I was so afraid of judgment. And I did it, and I got a 10-minute standing ovation, a director who wanted to work with me, and then like 3 or 4 people who started telling me their stories that had nothing to do with my story. Someone's father who left when they were, in high school, and they had never forgiven until they saw my piece, and what I saw happening for other people is what gave me the impetus to continue and to write my show, write out that short piece into my full-length show. So I just want to take you back for a minute. This is a painting of my mom. That was done in the 70s. I actually start my one-woman show dressed as her, and in that wig and everything like that. But so I'm talking about domestic violence here, but I want to take you back, because what I also want to say is our lives, and even those people in our lives, are not just the act of what happened. So I grew up in Brooklyn with a Jewish wannabe Italian father who taught me how to drive a Cadillac when I was 6 and how to shoot a gun at 10. A bohemian artist mom who took me traveling with her all over the world and read Shakespeare to me from the time I was 3 years old as a bedtime story. There was a lot of love. There was a lot of laughter. And then in 1995, my father shot my mother in the head and killed her. And in that one night, I lost my family. My dad, who I was definitely daddy's little girl growing up, and was the apple of his eye. What happened for me is that it was almost too much emotionally for me to lose both of my parents in one night. And so I kept trying to listen to my father's lies that he and my mom were fighting for days. Finally, he went upstairs to go to sleep, couldn't take it anymore. It was dark. My mom came up with the gun. They were fighting, and he couldn't remember who pulled the trigger. But my inner knowing, that's why our inner knowing, that guidance is so important, was like, this is bullshit. But yet my training over the years of trust authority, believe in your father, you love him so much, was making me believe it, but it was also making me depressed. And during one of my sleepless nights, I started writing poetry, like 100 poems came out in 30 days. And when I would wake up the next morning, I would be like, who wrote these? Because they were vile. They were filled with rage. They were very sexual. My parents were very sexual. And I, Brenda, identified as being a nice girl. Like, what is this? But it was one of those poems where I was confronting my father and saying, what happened? That I wrote into a scene, which was my first version of my one-woman show. And like I said, the reaction was not judgment. It was people who wanted to work with me. But in that time, right before I wrote that poetry, in my head, I was thinking about everything. Do I love him? I hate him, is when I had that God moment. Was never religious, was not ever spiritual. And it was in that deepest despair where I really wanted to take my own life. I was like, I just want to live with my mother. I just want, I just want to reunite with my mother. That I felt that presence. For me, it was like a white light, and it was hearing. I didn't know if it was God or my mother saying, it's going to be okay. And from that place, my creativity opened up. From writing on those pages and witnessing what I had been through, all of a sudden, I was no longer doing a spiritual bypass and being like, everything's okay because I have to forgive him anyway. It wasn't that. I started writing, I created the show. And then when I did the show the first time, people would laugh, people would cry, I know how to act, and I would go home absolutely miserable. So I took time off, got a master's degree in spiritual psychology, and started looking at, not asking the question, why did this happen? But okay, this happened. Now, how do I thrive? How do I survive and thrive? And what happened was, over the years, people in the audiences started sharing with me and with my show. I rewrote the ending of my show when I took my dad to court for wrongful death. I wanted to say this. He went to jail on a plea bargain, 1.5 to 5 years. The plea bargain said that he recklessly caused my brother and I, our mother's death by directly discharging his gun into her head. Domestic violence, he got out in 2.5 years for good behavior. So the system is, the system is broken. But I took him to court, not from a place of, I hate you, I'm going to punish you. I was in that master's program, and I truly understood that forgiveness was for me, and that I was doing it to set a healthy boundary with my father, because I wasn't capable of it on my own, and to make a self-honoring choice. And during that time, he and my aunt, who he was married to by that time, took off, and I actually never saw him again. We did win a $2 million judgment, didn't collect anything because he transferred it into offshore accounts. But I know I only have like another minute, so I just want to wrap it up with saying that I've gone on to perform my show all over the world. I will never stop telling my story because of that same thing you guys said, you goddesses said, which is the worst time in my life was when I was alone and I felt like nobody lived through anything that I did. So now that I have some witness there, healing there, 20 years of healing, I present my story. I teach workshops on forgiveness, and I have shifted into, started teaching people how to tell their stories effectively, impactfully, and using all of their creativity, performers and now entrepreneurs too, right around 2014, 2015. That's my passion, helping people come out and share their truths in a way. My process, the Soul Story method, is very much find your story, craft your story, heal it at the same time, and then present it. Because when I presented it at first, I was so depressed. So it's a process of healing, being one step ahead of the audience, and then sharing so that you're empowered as you're doing it. I happen to have a free challenge coming up actually Monday, February 13th. It's called Tell Your Soul Story for Impact and Income. So anyone who wants to learn my method, come on in there. If you watch this afterwards, my free Facebook group is called Soul Story Tribe. And I'm Brenda Edelman on Facebook mostly. Thank you.
Brenda, oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Instead of like, I just applaud you for being a strong woman. You are surely a strong woman. I just can't imagine what you went through and where you got the courage. of forgiving your father from what, like losing a loved one. It's more like losing.
I
the
really
entire
realized
world.
forgiveness was for me.
Yeah.
It's never, I didn't see him again. I didn't say, oh, you are narcissist and you have these tendencies and you don't care and you're not remorseful. Come on back into my life. I didn't do that. You know, I really got that forgiveness for me was letting go of that hardness in my heart that I was pushing out toward him. Like I did, I'll say one last thing. I had this insight. I was taking a foundations class at Agape. And I had this insight that my father and I were one, and that if I hated any part of him and I had my heart closed down, it was closed down to me. So that's why I worked on opening my heart, not speaking with him, but opening my heart, sending love and light to that darkness. And then, you know, doing a lot of inner child work so that I could be the father to myself, because he wasn't the father I would ever want.
Wow. No, thank you so much, Brenda. Your story, just like going through your bio, I never knew how much the power of healing through forgiveness can bring into someone's life. You've decided, like, you know what, I'm not gonna just bury myself in grief. I'm not gonna bury myself in hate, but I choose to forgive you in order for me to heal. Wow, what a profound message. But, you know, do you mind if I can ask you a question? When did you realize that you actually need this healing in your life, the forgiveness that will bring healing in your life? And why do you have to do that? Because I know, I don't know.
Well, forgiveness is a journey, number one. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to forgive him, and then I forgave him and everything was ideal. It wasn't. My life was not working. I was depressed. My addiction was overeating and over-exercising. And I would beat myself up over overeating so that I didn't have to think about what I really needed to think about was, oh my God, my father did this. And what does this mean for my life? So my life was not working. I was alone. When I did start dating, again, I was attracting people who were not emotionally available because I wasn't. And it was someone in my acting class that was going to this master's degree in spiritual psychology. Oh, here's the moment. It was like the first weekend of the class, but again, that was inner guidance that got me to that program. And they asked for a volunteer to go on stage to do muscle testing. And they said, think of someone you hate. And it was my aunt at that time, you know, and who married my dad. And they did it. And I got so weak. And that moment, like, because we think that anger and that, you know, that resolve keeps us strong. And I got it. I was like, oh, people get sick over this. Oh, I'm not strong. Well, why would I hold on to this? So it's like so much is about putting yourself around a support system of people who are working the process, you know, so they know what to share with you. You know, so I like the Soul Story Lounge because it's people who are surrounding themselves with good juju, you know. That was one thing, but it was a process. With my father, I wanted to forgive because I loved him. With my aunt, I didn't take the advice I gave my coaching clients, which is, you know, forgive them even if they're not in your life because, you know, they probably still affect you in other relationships and stuff like that. So when my aunt died and I found out, I was like, whatever. And I'm like a forgiveness person. And I'm like, that's not right. And I remember I was going from LA to San Diego where I was living at the time. And I started crying. And then my mother came to me and I realized that it was like, you know, 20 years after my mom was gone. And she came to me and I saw her like welcoming her sister onto the other side with open arms and love. And I had been so mad at her for marrying my father. And it's like, logically, I knew I shouldn't carry my mother's anger. And then my mother had no anger. So I was like, wow, when is too early to let go of this anger? It's like yesterday, you know?
Wow, there is power. There is power in forgiveness. There is healing in forgiveness. Thank you so much.
But setting healthy boundaries too. You can't really forgive if you're not setting a boundary. Like when I took my dad to court, he skipped town, so I didn't have to see him again. No?
Wow. No, I envy you. I applaud you. I congratulate you for the strength that you had to pull through this. No, it takes courage. It takes courage and trusting the man above, God, who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all what we may ask or even think. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing such a profound, much needed message. So to our audience online, have been really moved. They have been inspired. To our audience online, Maria is saying that powerful women with powerful stories. And Princess Sebe is saying that, wow, so much respect for you. Benoit is watching, Annalie is watching, Milton is also with us here, Brent Maldonado is also with us here. Wow, our audience have been, and Lucille, she's saying, Canada blessings. Our audience have been really inspired by all of your stories. Our audience have been moved. I've been moved into tears. Yes, it was really an emotional moment with us here today. So to our audience online, if you happen to have any questions for Monica, if you happen to have any questions for Terina, for Brenda, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box, and we're gonna respond to your questions at the end of the podcast. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be the next and final speaker before we come back and share our final thoughts and share with the audience and take your questions. So please enjoy my bio, and then I will come back and speak.
I want you, as you think about your dreams and goals, to put this down. Rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights. Because you need to be clear about your career goals in order for you to gain guidance on professional development. Really, my goal as a mentor or as a coach, it's so simple. My goal is to study your current situation, identify limiting beliefs and other potential obstacles that you might be facing, and then design a plan of inspired action to empower you to pursue success and drive sustainability.
I think whosoever said that the sky is the limit was wrong. From today on, I, Dr. Riel and Kunene, believe that the sky is our point of view. Mom. So I think whosoever said that the sky is the limit was wrong. From today on, I, Dr. Riel and Kunene, believe that the sky is our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights.
Dr. Nampumelelo Rial Kunene is an international human rights policy analyst who consults on policies and procedures related to human rights compliance. She is a highly sought-after, energetic, certified Lace Brown international speaker. This passionate leader holds a PhD with a discipline in leadership and business. Dr. Rial N. Kunene is the author and host to Rise to Greater Heights, a book and YouTube channel to turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. She is also a coach, mentor, and an MC, well known for encouraging many to rise from mediocrity into greatness. Her vision is not only to motivate, but also to empower audiences with a fresh perspective inspiration they require to pursue success and drive sustainable outcomes. In a seriously funny way, Dr. Kunene is an award-winning author, 10 times #1 Amazon and international best-selling author. Her #1 best-selling book, Rise to Greater Heights, has inspired and empowered many to pursue their personal and professional passion to become go-getters. As a trainer, diplomacy protocol officer, and strategist, Rial believes that we are in full control of our choices. Her mission is to meet the needs and transform lives of her clients and her audience. She is also a true advocate for creating new policies that uphold human rights and prevent human rights violations. Dr. Kunene's purpose is to teach everyone about human rights and help organizations understand and promote human rights. Her goal is to study your current situation, identify limiting beliefs, then design a plan of inspired action to empower you to achieve specific outcomes in your life. This change maker, trailblazer, and revolutionary is pushing boundaries and creating a real change worldwide. Like a phoenix that never accepted defeat and rose from its own ashes, she wants to challenge you to unleash your greatness and rise to greater heights. Dr. Rial Nkunene wears many hats. As a professional certified sales manager, CEO, certified travel counselor, publisher, medical esthetician, philanthropist, and a commissioner for oaths, following her dreams gave her purpose to see her goals through and understand that she does have everything she needs to reach her full potential. Her everyday message is that your journey to be a better person starts with you. So knowing who you are to your core will make you understand that you are the only one who can accomplish your dreams. Hebrews 11, Psalms 27 and 40 keeps her to rise to greater heights. The sky is no longer the limit, but now the sky is our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Kings and queens, please join me. Welcome, Dr. Rial Nkunene.
Oh wow. Thank you so much, amazing speakers. All these amazing messages, really, they are life-changing. Monica mentioned that there is healing for those who want to renew their minds in God. And Terina on the other side, she was like, you know what, embracing your voice, embracing your truth, your message, it can change your world. And then Brenda on the other side, she shared everything on forgiveness. She mentioned that there is power of sharing your story from a healed place. So I'm like, today, really, it's been an emotional day, but at the end of the day, you'll have to understand your human rights. So please write this down right now. What are human rights? And what comes into your mind when you hear the word human rights? Just post in the chat box. I'll come back and check what you understand exactly, what comes into your mind when you hear someone saying, oh, you have human rights. Because human rights are the fundamental rights and freedoms that are inherent to all human beings, regardless of your gender, nationality, place of residence, sex, ethnicity, religion, or even your skin color. Human rights are not just about the law. So human rights are non-discriminatory, meaning that all human beings are entitled to them. Good people, you really don't have to see the whole staircase in life to get to the top, but you need to take the first step to get to the top. As my mentor always say, that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to become great in life. So get started today. My everyday book says, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and plead the widow's cause. So get started today, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and plead the widow's cause. Because I know that we all have a voice, but not everyone knows how to use it. So as an advocate for human rights, I encourage change makers and educate them on the issues at hand so that their voices can be heard too. So I work with individuals in church, listening very closely before I start calling out issues that need change. So I serve not just as a vocal protester, but I just go one step further by encouraging these changes through education instead of merely telling government leaders why something needs fixing, which happens quite frequently. So to me, really, it was the death of George Floyd that made me to realize that we need to stand for a world where no one shall live in fear because of the color of their skin, and where the criminal justice system treats everyone fairly and equally. If you remember it very well, in May 25th, 2020, George Floyd died in police custody in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This 46-year-old Black man was arrested and killed after a convenience store employee called 911 on Floyd's suspicion of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. The video that was captured by a bystander, it showed George Floyd pinned face down on the ground and in handcuffs as he was pleading for help, as one of the Minneapolis officer pressing his knee against his neck. And he was like, I can't breathe. And finally, he fell silent. May his soul rest in eternal peace. So it is so impossible not to be outraged after watching that video of the Minneapolis officer pressing his knee against Floyd's neck for a period initially reported to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I believe that everyone is born free and everyone has the right to life. So no one should ever be subject to such unjustified violence. Hence, I am here today to educate everyone to know their human rights. Get to understand about your human rights so that you will know when your human rights have been violated. I am here to share my knowledge. I am here to encourage everyone to get familiar with their human rights. It's a wake-up call, good people. This is a wake-up call, but when that alarm clock goes off, please, don't ever hit the snooze button. Don't be like, I will wake up in the next 2 minutes. I will wake up in the next 4 minutes. You know what? Forever is a long time. Why don't you wake up, get going, and know more about your human rights? Learn about your human rights. So our organization fill a critical role in society by providing valuable services that governments may not always be able to deliver. From poverty relief to community empowerment to human rights advocacy, we are just vital for supporting the most vulnerable members of our communities. We are an integral part of society and we are involved like globally in human rights, climate change, and humanitarian aid, because there are many ways in which we need to persuade our governments to adopt human rights related legislation. Some of these include by providing information in such a summit like this for the general public through maybe exhibits, side events, formal speeches, lobbying officials, and during meetings as well as negotiations. As flight attendants always say that put on your oxygen mask first before you go out there and assist others, because if you don't, you and the other person you're trying to help could possibly go down. So it's high time you put that oxygen mask first. You get the knowledge that you need first before you go out there and share with the world, because the reality is your journey to be a better person, it starts with you. So knowing who you are to your core will make you understand that you have everything around you to reach to your full potential. So don't ever give up on your heart's desires. Just recall this, just in case you can't find a way out. You can have the drive within you to become what you really want in life. Can you say this after me? I believe in affirmations big time. So can you say this after me by affirming this actually? Place your left hand on your chest and raise your right hand and say it. I can have the drive within me to become what I really want in life. Can you say it one more time as if you have faith in your own powerful voice? And guess what? It will echo throughout the whole universe. I can have the drive within me to become what I really want in life. Yes, you can have the drive within you. Just give yourself a round of applause, because you can have the drive within you to get where you want to be, to become what you really want in life. It's inside of you. No one else can give it to you, but you have it within you. You know, it's so funny how my mom and dad gave me this beautiful, beautiful name, Nompumelelo. I know many, when they try to say my name, they always butcher my name. But Nompumelelo, it has a meaning in my own language. Nompumelelo, it means mother of all success. So you can see that I am really, really challenged to chase after success. No matter what comes my way, I'll have to chase after success. So if I may ask you, how many of you have dreams and goals that you want to achieve? Maybe let me say in the next 6 months. I know myself, I am one of those. I want you, as you think about your dreams and goals, to put this down. Rise to greater heights. Rise to greater heights, because you need to be clear about your career goals in order for you to gain guidance on a professional development. So as a human rights analyst, my purpose is so simple. My purpose is to teach everyone about human rights and help as many organizations to understand and promote human rights. I also make a difference by bringing solutions and educating others, because you'll have to remember that a right is a freedom of some kind. It doesn't matter where we were born or what kind of family we are born into. We all have the internal recognition of the moral quality of one's motives and actions. It was Nelson Mandela who once said, to deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. And trust me, this message states something within me, because I am a true advocate of creating human rights policies that uphold human rights and prevent human rights violations from even happening from the first place. So what I do, I consult on policies and procedures related to human rights compliance. And then I advise on best practices for implementing human rights programs. And I can also assist with audits of operations against international standards. So I do research and help draft human rights related policies on such as on discrimination at work, harassment at work, diversity and inclusion, patients' rights, and many, many more human rights related policies. Because I believe that I have a duty of raising awareness of people's rights by providing solutions. I believe that an essential thing in human rights is based on the principle that everyone deserves respect. It doesn't matter where they are born or what career they are in or what they do, they deserve a respect. So I so wish that you can just tell yourself that, you know what, I've had all the information I just needed today in order for me to gain more knowledge on human rights. So I'll have to go out there. I'll have to go out there and be the change that I want to see in this world. It must first begin with me. I'll have to go out there and make a difference in your community, make a difference to those who look at you as an inspiration. But in order for you to go out there and be the change and make a difference, you've got to be hungry. You've got to be hungry like the hungry lion in the jungle. Really, that hungry lion in the jungle, it doesn't matter what kind of animal comes his way. It doesn't matter if you're that giant elephant or that small squirrel by the jungle. All that hungry lion sees in front of his face is lunch. And it's so funny because even with elephants, when they see a lion, what they do is that they run. It's all about the mindset. Once you believe, you become. They already told themselves that, you know what, I am a lunch to that lion. So each and every time when I see a lion, I'll have to run. I believe that's the lion mindset that we need in order for us to make a difference. Because I believe that we all rise together and we rise to greater heights. We rise by lifting each other up, by sharing the way all these amazing speakers have shared their experiences. They are trying to help heal the world with their own very humanity. So by sharing such information like this, we are healing the world. You know, it's so funny. When I was in the 8th grade, I'm just going to share this story very short. When I was in the 8th grade, I was nicknamed Phoenix. I was nicknamed Phoenix after writing a composition using the idiomatic expression that says, I rose from the ashes like a phoenix bird, meaning I became successful again. Really, that English teacher, she didn't know that the nickname Phoenix, it resonates with me. And it also aligns with my destiny. Like I told you, Terina, I'm so in love with the Phoenix. It also aligns with my destiny because for those of you who don't know the Phoenix bird, the Phoenix is a Greek mythological bird believed to rise from its own ashes after being buried like hundreds of years ago. This immortal creature, it acquires new life by rising from the ashes of its own ancestor, which represents our capacity for vision and success. So I want to encourage you, if you're watching and listening under my voice today, I just want to encourage you that when your world comes crashing down, wear your scars to show how a phoenix feels like to die from inside. And trust in your own capability to rise from your own ashes, since the phoenix has to die, burn, experience pain before resurrection from its own ashes. Please write this down in conclusion. Resilience to greatness. Resilience to greatness. And I know that you've heard this before, that your setback is your setup for your comeback. Your setback is your setup for your comeback. So if I can be honest with you, I don't know what goals you've set for the next 6 months. I don't know what dreams you have for your own future. But here's one thing I know about you. You are destined for greatness. Inside of you, God has put seeds of excellence. Those seeds are supposed to grow and flourish. But many people have become crippled by their past encounters, and some have stepped over other people to get to the top. But I believe that with God, we're all destined for greatness as long as we follow his strategy. This is when the growth commences, because discovering your gifts and following God's idea, it will make you understand that you have everything around you to reach to your full potential. My everyday inspiration, Mr. Les Brown, he once said, if you had to die today, at this very moment, at this hour, what dreams, what ideas, what visions, what goals, what skills, what talents, and what books will die with you? And the late Dr. Miles Monroe continued saying that the richest place on this planet is the cemetery, because that's where all the dreams, all the visions, all the goals, all the talents have been buried. Honestly, I don't know about you, but with me listening to all these amazing messages, it just gave me sleepless nights. And that was when I decided to follow my dreams, which gave me a purpose to see my goals through and understand that I do have everything I need to reach to my full potential. So this year, I'm so determined. I'm so determined to rise to greater heights with 2023 motivated individuals who are ready to rise from mediocrity to greatness. So I offer a free, no obligation, 30-minute friendly Zoom consultation call. And this will allow me to find out more about the issues that you're experiencing. And we can discuss any questions or any concerns that you may have. So if you are a motivated individual, you're a public speaker, you're an author, you're a coach, you're an entrepreneur who wants to multiply your income by doing what you love. And not just multiplying your income, but if you truly want not to just grow, but you just want to scale your organization, and then I can help you achieve and sustain that growth. So go out there on my website, www.risetogreaterheights.com, and book that consultation call with me. I will help you to find clarity and focus to start or even grow your business. I will show you how to start or even scale your business with just one simple offer. And then I will guide you on how to find your niche, because at the end of the day, you'll have to find your niche and connect your messages to what your dream clients want. So I will also guide you on how to create and structure your signature program. Perhaps you are just like me, you want to write and publish your best-selling book within 90 days. Trust me, I can definitely make that happen for you. So my ultimate goal is that you feel extremely confident about your purpose. That's my goal. With me, you're going to gain clarity. You're going to learn about your mind, and you're going to take action to create your own unique transformation. We will take it one step at a time, and you are going to transform. You're not going to be the same. You are going to transform. If you give me your why, I will give you the how. So this consultation offers accountability, education, as well as growth and success. And I can help you. The reason why I'm trying to help you is because I've been there. I've done that. I know how it feels like. 5 years ago, honestly, I was just lost in the hustle. I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. I had a ton of ideas, but no tried and true strategy and structure to run with it. So it was only when I invested in coaching and created my first premium offer that things started to change, and I built an income generating business doing what I love and making a real impact in this world. So now it's your turn to build your own world, because the power is within you. Remember, the power is within you. So if your current business doesn't generate, my video has started. My video has started that thing again. So if your current business really doesn't generate enough sales, you feel stuck, you're lacking direction, it means that you'll have to book that call. It's a free consultation call, no obligation at all. Just give yourself that second chance, because you know what? I am a result-driven coach. So I'm going to teach you strategies and techniques on how you can overcome your weaknesses, face your fears, and successfully move forward. Because at the end of the day, I just want to empower you to become highly effective and an inspiring leader with a personalized, measurable, and scalable program. So book that call now. It's on my website, www.risetogreaterheights.com. Because you know what? Growing up, I didn't have much in life, because my father decided to have an early departure from this planet Earth. And I thank God that I missed that flight, because I'm still here. I'm still sharing my message. I'm still impacting the world, because I had everything because of my mama's love. And I love you so much, Mom. So whosoever say that the sky is the limit, I think that person was wrong, because I believe that the sky is no longer our limit, but the sky is now our point of view. So let's all rise to greater heights. Thank you so much, amazing speaker. So at this moment, please feel free to share your freebie with the audience, how the audience can reach out to you, and also share your final thoughts on human rights. I'm gonna go and check if we have any questions being posted. Monica on the go. Monica, go. The stage is yours, Pastor.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It's so powerful. I love it. This is a very special day, really. I'm touched, and I think there is so much to do within just the four of us, not even thinking about anybody else at this moment. There's so much to give and so much to love on. I think that when you really give your heart and touch somebody else's heart, it's going to be worth so much. Money can't buy that. Only the love that you give, that's priceless. Oh, my location to be looked for in Facebook and in Instagram. It's Soy, SOY, Monica Go. And I would love to hear from you. I do have a strategy session. It's very important to be able to, this is for people that want to change their lives. If you want to stay the same and you don't want to make a change because you're afraid to confronting yourself, don't even bother looking for any of us, because it's not even worth it. If you're really wanting to change your life because you've done it all your way, but you haven't done it God's way, you can look for any of us. And I know that God will use our lives to take you to another level. So I'm also inviting you to get into my podcast, Monica Go, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just listen to it. It's in Spanish and some in English. I have invites. It always will be going back to basics. So anybody that goes there will have a nugget or know that whatever that successful person that comes on my podcast, they had a nitty gritty, something that they're embarrassed of, something that really kept them in the pit. But there was a moment, that resilience and love, and God pulled them out of that place to be where they are. And so if God did it for them, he could do it for you. And we are here, us four, here to help you out. So it's my honor to share this platform with these wonderful and powerful women from different areas. We're in 4 different corners of North America. And we are here to love on you, to honor you, and to honor God above all things. So give it a go, because God already gave a go for you. Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Give it a go. Give it a go. Oh my goodness. I believe our audience is they're gonna reach out to you. Thank you so much, Dr. Monica, for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom with us today. And our audience has to reach out to you. On that podcast, we all have to rush into that, because who doesn't want any personal growth anyways? We need that. We need that accountability partner who will just hold you hand by hand and be like, you know what? You'll have to fix this. This needs to be fixed. So thank you so much, Monica. You can go ahead, Terina, and share with the audience, please.
Just like to echo Monica that it's been a beautiful morning, and I just have been so thankful to be here with you women and to be able to receive your powerful stories and messages. And I love what you guys are doing to help change the world and improve people's lives. And on that note, I do on my website have a journal and self-care workbook that really kind of walks you through some of the how and why of self-care, and has some really beautiful questions to get you started on that introspective journey of really discovering who you are. And as I mentioned before, from there, I would love to hop on a call with anybody who may be interested in learning more about me and how we work together and how I help support people. And there's links to do that on my website as well, which I've put in the comments of our Facebook group. But for those maybe watching live, it's TerinaMaldonado.com. And I just know that as we embrace who we are and really step into our own authentic selves and share that unapologetically with the world, that we can show up for those in our lives in a much more beautiful way. And I really look forward to seeing how other people show up as themselves in the world.
Oh wow! Thank you so much, Terina. I can see your link over there. I hope many of our audience, they're gonna reach out to you and get that self-care workbook as well as the journal, because I believe it's transformational. It's gonna make a difference in their lives. So thank you so much, Terina. You can go ahead, Brenda, and share with the audience, please.
What a great way to spend the morning. I am inspired by all of you. Thank you for inviting me, Rial. So yeah, I think that owning our stories and sharing them helps us become the creator of our lives versus being responsive and reactive to everything else that is happening in this world and being thrown at us. When we heal to the very core of our being by seeing our story in a bigger way, then we're not triggered. Then we can create better relationships. We can have more peace. And I feel like that's what our lives are about. I happen to also be really excited about the ownership of our voice, also expressing, but the creativity, like, fine, do whatever you want. Like, you can command the stage. And it's why I give the stage, and I've actually created virtual and in-person stages for my clients, because I feel like there's the writing of your story, and then there's the expression where something else happens, and then you have that connection with other people. And so what I wanted to say is, please join me if you're here now. I do have this Tell Your Soul Story for Impact and Income challenge coming up this week, but there's also on the last day of the challenge a way for you to share the story on my virtual stage. So if you are one of the people that I work with, which is authors, speakers who are doing talks, but they don't know how to express their creativity, really get there, lean into what I've learned over all these years with all these over 10,000 hours on stage and God knows how many years of acting classes, and join the challenge. And also I do have my free group Soul Story Tribe, but also for your viewers, because I realize I talked a lot about forgiveness. And one of the things is people don't necessarily know how to forgive. My process has proven, I have taught this, self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others and setting healthy boundaries, like I said, to women, prisoners, youth at risk, many, domestic violence survivors, things like that. I do have a free 5-part e-course it's the 5 top reasons to never forgive and why you should. And of course that's for you. So just reach out to me. You can DM me on Facebook. You can catch me on Facebook. That's the easiest way. My main website is forgivenessandfreedom.com. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is, I really believe all of this is an inside job, and it's about loving ourselves. So that's the good news, because you don't have to be reliant on anybody else to feel whole and complete. Thank you.
Oh wow! Thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing all the information about forgiveness. Forgiveness. Oh my goodness! If you wanna go far in life, forgive and forget, and then move forward, you're gonna heal in that way. So I believe our audience, they're gonna reach out to you. I don't see, oh, okay, I can see your link over there. Sign up for my free Tell Your Story. Yes, I believe our audience will reach out to you for sure, because we need to heal at the end of the day. We'll have to leave the past in the past and be our pioneers, our own future. So they need to do just that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our amazing speakers, just for being with us here at Rise to Greater Heights Network. You know, your presence here, it means the world to us. We don't take your time with us here for granted, really. I know you've spared your own 90 minutes just to be with us here from your busy schedule. So thank you so much, our amazing speakers, and to our amazing audience. Thank you so much for joining us here at Rise to Greater Heights Network, where you can turn your fears into greater success while seizing new opportunities. I hope from these amazing messages from all these amazing speakers, you've been inspired, you've been motivated, and you are ready to rise to greater heights. So do join us next week at the same time, same place. Thank you. Merci. Siyabonga.
Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and men to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let him laugh, let him weep, let him yell, let him sing. All they wanna say. Let him lay me traps and a man to pray to Jehovah, me I pray. Let I be me instead of playing games. For chasing fame, let somebody spread the lack of flames. No,
living my life to the fullest and shout out my halala to the fullest. Let my lungs out. I'm still rising up to greater heights.